Hi everybody, Steve here. Welcome to this issue of Monday Morning Musings. We're still on the theme of the various isms and the draining effect they have on people when they try to engage in authentic Christian community. Here's a topic that isn't going to get very many amens, I'm sure, from you all out there. But if you listen to what's on the typical evangelical TV all the time, you would get the impression that God's entire reason for existence is to make things pleasant for you. You know, he's going to give you your dreams. He's the dream fulfiller. He's got a calling. It's wonderful, etc., etc., etc. Well, those things are sort of true. But oftentimes in God's bigger picture plan for us, when we say, oh God, I want I want to serve you. I want to do your way. Oh God, I want to show me my ministry. It can involve, listen carefully, assignment to unpleasant places and unpleasant people. I will give you some examples. Joseph's dream, Joseph, God gave Joseph a calling. Yeah, and it involved a long stint in prison. God gave Jacob a promise, and it involved a stint with a cheating uncle. I can assure you that Daniel's assignment to Babylon was not pleasant for him. Think about it. He lost everything. He was exported as a slave, undoubtedly was castrated because he became the head of he was a eunuch, became head of the harem. All his money, all his property back in Jerusalem gone, most of his family dead. And it was God's assignment for Daniel to be in Babylon. Jeremiah didn't have fun at the bottom of the pit. Do you want to know the honest truth? Jerusalem was not exactly a fun assignment for Jesus either. And Paul of Tarsus, how many times was he beaten? Ends up in jail alone. My point is this. When we talk about, oh, God's given me a dream, God's given me a vision, God this, God that, God this, God that, it is possible that in your pursuit of trying to find a community, you could be assigned by Father to an unpleasant place. I'm not saying you have to look for it. I'm not saying you have to create it. I'm saying you have to be open to the possibility. It has to be on our radar screen. And if the motivating factor of all our spiritual decisions is how little it's going to cost me, how little it's going to hurt, how convenient it's going to be, how I have to like it, you are essentially not yet even on God's wavelength of communication. He could assign you to unpleasant people for unpleasant experiences for an indefinite period of time. There's no substitute for being led by the Spirit. Again, we don't have to search for it. But my point is, just because it gets unpleasant, uncomfortable, doesn't mean you've made a mistake, necessarily, and it doesn't mean you aren't in the center of God's will. The mystery of it all is those experiences are designed for the benefit of everyone involved. But the cruciform way, the way of discipleship, the way of picking up your cross daily is going to involve some pain. Now, does that cross the line into, where does it cross the line into, do you mean I have to put up with abuse and degradation? No, I'm not saying that. My goodness, some of you know what was done to me in local churches and my family. I could have hours of horror stories I could tell you. So I understand, toxic and unsafe and unhealthy church environments. My point is, if that's your only criteria going forward, that you never want to get hurt again, nobody's ever going to do that to you again, that's a naive expectation. Human beings do human things. And so if you're expecting a pain-free environment that's going to lead you to the deeper understanding of Jesus' ways and the beauty of the body of Christ, that's an idealistic, perfectionistic, and romantic expectation. It needs to go. You need to adjust your expectations of what's could happen. So, no idealism. Understand that you could be assigned to an unpleasant place for somebody else's benefit and your spiritual growth. That's what he said. I'll see you next time.